Today we're going to tackle a really modern problem, something that quietly messes with our success, our relationships, and even our own peace of mind. And we're going to do it by looking through the eyes of a poet who lived almost 800 years ago. Believe it or not, his ancient wisdom might just be the exact cure we've been searching for.
So, let me ask you this. What if the single biggest thing that's holding you back isn't actually an external force at all? What if it's something you carry around with you, inside you, every single day?
We love to blame the usual suspects, don't we? It's our past, it's our circumstances, maybe we're just having a string of bad luck. But honestly, those are often just the symptoms of a much, much deeper issue.
And there it is, the real culprit. That little voice inside, that defensive instinct, that constant nagging need to be right. It's your ego. And here's the really scary part. The more you think you have it under control, the more power it probably has over you.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. A 13th century Persian poet, a guy named Saadi Shirazi, who literally walked through war-torn kingdoms and talked to everyone from kings to beggars, he diagnosed this exact problem with a clarity that just slices right through all our modern hyper-connected noise.
So, let's dive in. Let's look at Saadi's diagnosis of our 21st century ego problem. How does our world today feed this inner monster, and what timeless truth did he figure out that we are somehow still missing?
I mean, let's be real. We live in an age of performance. Social media didn't invent the ego, but it absolutely gave it a global stage and a 24/7 spotlight. And what does that lead to? A constant hunt for validation, an almost allergic reaction to any criticism, and the need to turn every single story back to me. It's like a full-time job, just crafting and defending this digital version of ourselves.
This, right here, is the ego's biggest trick. It doesn't walk around announcing its weakness. It doesn't scream, "Hey, I'm really insecure, please tell me I'm okay." No. Instead, it whispers, quietly, "I'm better than them." And that little whisper, well, that's its most dangerous weapon.
And this is where Saadi's wisdom just cuts through everything. This wasn't just some beautiful line of poetry. It was a deep insight into human nature centuries ahead of his time. He saw this fundamental connection between all of us that the ego works overtime to make us forget.
You see, Saadi's travels showed him something fascinating. The king who sits on a throne and declares, "I am superior," and the beggar on the street who believes, "The world owes me something," they're both prisoners of the exact same force. Different outfits, different life stories, but it's the same ego pulling the strings.
So let's just be crystal clear on what the ego actually is. It is not real confidence. It's armor. It's this loud, fragile shell that we build around ourselves to hide a deep, deep feeling of insecurity. True confidence is quiet. It's calm. The ego is just a roaring, defensive fire.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now, what about the prescription? Let's turn back to Saadi's ancient wisdom for a powerful and really practical guide to taming this modern ego of ours.
Saadi's methods really boil down to 3 incredibly powerful practices. First up, humility. Just understanding that when someone corrects you, it's not an attack, it's a chance to grow. Second, empathy. Before you react, just pause and think about the pain someone else might be carrying. It completely disarms your own ego's defenses. And third, silence. You have to quiet that inner noise to even begin to realize how much of it is just your ego fighting for its own survival.
All right, here's a simple, but I gotta say, incredibly difficult challenge for you. Think about the last time you were in a disagreement. How hard was it to just stop and say, "You know what? You're right." Those 2 words are like kryptonite to the ego. Just try it. The initial feeling might be defeat, but what comes after is this profound sense of freedom.
And that's really the whole point here, liberation. This isn't about waging some kind of war against yourself. It's about breaking free from the ego's little prison to discover a much more authentic and honestly, more powerful way to live.
If Saadi were alive today, he wouldn't tell us all to delete our social media accounts. I think he'd offer much better advice. Use the tool, but don't let it turn you into the tool.
Don't weld your sense of who you are to that little screen you hold in your hand.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it means you can share things about your life without your happiness depending on the number of likes you get. It means you can achieve amazing things without your entire identity becoming fragile and attached to them. And it means you can add your voice to the conversation while remembering that forgotten art of actually listening.
Now, here is maybe the most important reframe of this whole thing. This is not a war against your ego. You need a healthy ego just to function in the world. The goal isn't to destroy it. It's to stop letting it drive the car. It's about moving it from the driver's seat into the passenger seat, with you in control. It's all about awareness.
So at the end of the day, what really defines a successful life? For Saadi, after all of his journeys and all the people he met, the answer was crystal clear. It wasn't money or power or fame. The real treasures were the things you carry inside you, wisdom and humility.
And that really brings it all home for us, right? We are obsessed with upgrades for our phones, our careers, our number of followers, but maybe, just maybe, the most profound upgrade any of us can ever make is the internal one, shifting from a life of hunting for external validation to a life of cultivating internal awareness.
And that's the ultimate promise in all of this. See, the ego convinces you that without it, you're nothing. But the truth that Saadi knew all those centuries ago is the exact opposite. The moment you step beyond its constant noise and its constant demands, you don't become less, you become free.